Yo, what's going on? What's up? What's up? We are joined today by Mel Gilderin. I hope I said that correctly.
Correct. Yeah, pretty good.
Dope. Super dope. Super dope. Let me get the chats open on my end really quick. We got some time today. We got some time. Honestly, like, what else is it? Like, the market is absolutely abysmal right now.
Yeah, it's pretty rough unless you're holding ZEC or a bullish or some other, or Starknet,
right.
Starkware.
All right.
Yeah.
Got the chats open. GM Vic, GMToken.com. Hey, GM Mr. Whale. Okay, cool. It's interesting. Before we dive in, I have a lot of obviously questions. You built a really awesome, interesting tool. Market timing is kind of crazy right now. But before we get into token.com and what it is and the purpose as to why you guys even started building it in the first place, I always like to start these with a little bit of a founder background story, like your origin story, how you got to the crypto space in general. What was your professional background before? How eventually did that translate into becoming a founder and CEO of an upcoming, it's live, of a product, of a live crypto product. But yeah, without me rambling anymore, Mel, welcome. Hi.
Thank you, Faded. Look, such a pleasure to be on your stream. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, where did I start, right? It's been quite a while now. Feels so long ago. But yeah, I discovered my whole youth, I have always been captivated by the world's problems, right? It feels like the duty of a man to take on the burdens of the world, right? To try and solve them, right? That's definitely how I I felt as a child. And so I was very motivated by climate change and all this sort of stuff as a teenager. My first business was related to climate change.
No way.
But then, I quickly figured that the big problem in the world was the economy, right? Because the economy is what shapes, our human interactions. It shapes our whole society, right? And the banks are the number one, the banks and the governments, right? Are the culprits here, right? That was my conclusion at the age of 17, 18. And so, this was exactly when I went to university. I went to study aerospace engineering because I wanted to work for, Elon at SpaceX back in the day. And at, aerospace engineering, I discovered Bitcoin, right? That was 2013. I discovered Bitcoin. And the moment I discovered Bitcoin, I became completely obsessed with it. It was so it took me a day or two to figure out this is not just some a brand. No. This is real, real tech here. And that's game changing. And I became completely obsessed. And before long, I'd be in the back of the lecture hall, right? Huge lecture hall. And I'd be all the way in the back with about 30 other students huddled around my laptop whilst I was explaining what mining was and what, how to make a wallet and what a blockchain is and all this sort of stuff. And so quickly I became known as the Bitcoin kid at my university. And, as luck would have it, right? In that year, I went from being a poor, normal student, right, to feeling like I was wealthy, on top of the world, right? I had suddenly success, right? And, and so it seems quaint now, but back then that was such a huge deal. And so I quit university. I figured that I want to be one of the first people to completely live in this new, more pure, futuristic economy, right? I wanted to be the first. So I quit university and I canceled all my Dutch bank accounts. And I just had a Bitcoin wallet on my phone. And that's how I traveled the world, right? And then fast forwarding a bit, in 2016, I met Vitalik, right? Ethereum had just gone live the year before. And I was completely obsessed with Ethereum because it was like Bitcoin, but it took the next technological leap, right? It added in this whole, general computation, aspects. And so, and as it happens, I was traveling at the time in Taiwan, right? East Asia. And Vitalik, that's one of his favorite countries. So I met him. I had dinner with him with a bunch of other people. We were sitting at a round table having, like dumplings, right? Shui jiao, Chinese dumplings. And I remember some guy from Microsoft asking Vitalik, like, but why smart contracts, Vitalik? And Vitalik gave a technical answer, right? Kind of a complicated answer. And I could see that the guy still didn't really understand. And then like I felt like after Vitalik's answer, I had to back Vitalik up, right? So I like started to explain in a more human language. Well, like smart contracts can do this. Like it means that you can put money into like a smart contract, and you could take a loan, or you could put your house token in there or whatever. And I remember getting so enthusiastic that I ended up standing up at the dinner table. And I remember Vitalik, who was sitting next to me to my left, Vitalik was looking up like this and nodding his head. And that was the moment, Faded, that I realized, holy crap, if this guy, Vitalik, who's literally like the Newton of our time, if he thinks I have something good to say here and to contribute here, like what more do I need? What's like,
that's it. Yeah, that's the top
it.
of the top. Yeah, it doesn't really get much bigger than that.
Exactly. So that was really the start of my entry into crypto, into like building for the industry. Yeah.
That's insane. No, that's actually that's probably one of the wildest stories I think I've ever heard. Definitely ever heard live for sure. Friends with the Ethereum founder, which is like really cool.
I mean, like I'll say, like I've met Vitalik maybe 10, 15 times, in my life now over the world. And friend is like a hard thing because he is so incredibly, he just operates on such a plane of existence, which there's not disparaging Vitalik, but it really does feel like he only speaks machine code, right? Like it's so hard to really interact with him. He's so like socially awkward, right? So like I love him, right? He changed the world. He changed my life, right? Like he changed many people's lives, but like being friends with him is like really difficult. Like,
I'm sure. I mean, just imagine some of the thoughts he's having. Think about how much shit he's thinking about all the time. Yeah. It's actually definitely not normal. Something that I actually really appreciated a lot in your story, and you got some props in the chat for good storytelling, but something about essentially starting out in the world with like a moral obligation, a moral duty, like feeling like you need to actually like provide value, and then coming to the rough but perhaps honest assessment that, hey, the world runs on money, and if you don't have money, you don't really have influence. And those two worlds are like,
you're right. I mean, like I would say, right, like we're born with zero knowledge, right? Like we learn from our parents, we learn from school, we learn from other, things we're exposed to. But the reality is we start with basically zero knowledge of the world. And I would say the last, like I would describe my entire life up until this point, this constant realization that reality isn't as perfect and utopian and ideal as you would like want to believe, right? And it is what it is.
I mean, and I didn't even think that we were going to get into this, but now that we're here, I would love to hear your take. Like we've seen roughly around the time you started, entering the builder side of crypto, there was a very strong ethos, and it seemed over the last, call it 6 to 8 years, we've slowly transitioned away from that ethos. And that is like the cypherpunk ethos, right? Yeah. That is privacy, anonymity, autonomy, sovereignty, like all of these, initial promises of Bitcoin and ultimately of cryptocurrencies. Do you see do you see a world in where we go all the way back to that? And then like, I don't know, I would love to just like your overall take on that whole subject. Yeah. Like, how did we stray away from it? Like, how did we, like, I don't know.
You're completely correct. That is exactly what happened, right? Like the reality is back in the early days, right? And like indeed, most of the discussion was just more honest, was more, like the majority of the people back before everyone had become, super, like lots of money had been made. People were, visionary, like technologists and philosophers, right? Like motivated by building, new infrastructure that would change the world, right? Like kind of there's a lot of slightly naive, right, and like visionary thinking, which drove the motivations behind, a lot of the, the industry today, but that has faded, no pun intended, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and that, like, this is actually normal, right? Like it's great if an industry can stay like that, but as it gets bigger, right, the people who are like deeply passionate, they were already there, right? And so it just becomes more, like larger, right, larger part of society enters the industry with different intentions, which is, well, they've seen a lot of money being made in the past, and hey, it is a great way to make money historically, right? And so you can't blame people. But it reminds me of, maybe you've heard of this before. I think it's called like the never-ending summer, or like the endless summer, which is this early internet concept where back in the day, back when the internet was only really between some American universities, right? There was like, like people would communicate on the internet with each other, and they would have, a very specific, like style, and like, like people were really nice and addressing each other, and very, it was very like a high class kind of like attitude.
It was different. We went from Reddit to like 4chan, which is like two totally different vibes.
Yeah. But what would happen is that every summer, back then, new people would join the internet because new students went to university and they would use the internet for the first time. And then you had this period after summer where like the internet became chaos, and then people settled down and learned how to engage with the internet in a proper way. And at some point, the internet took off, and the people who created the internet called this the endless summer, where it just never went back to the old days of, like the nice internet. And that's kind of what's happened to crypto as well, right? Like it's just how things go.
Damn.
Yeah.
Do you think, I mean, obviously, like, I think that's part of a large part of the ethos, or not ethos, thesis, or narrative talking point around Zcash. Do you see that kind of going? I kind of have like two perspectives on this personally. I think if we do go into like turbo bear mode, I'm seeing calls for people saying, hey, Bitcoin down to, as low as 60, 50, like 60K or something like that. I think in a scenario like that, you're going to see some anonymity coins like go absolutely fucking insane. And I that's sort of my bear thesis on it, is like, I'm bullish on like Zcash and stuff like that if the overall market conditions get very bearish and there seems to be too much regulation stepping in, because let's be honest, for 10 years, it was a free-for-all. People made tens of millions of dollars off and on the books. So, if I don't know, I think people are really going to try to preserve the wealth that they've been able to accumulate within crypto before the government can sort of like get their hands on it. Honestly, I mean, that's kind of the truth. Like,
I actually agree with your perspective there. I would say like we are entering such a crazy future, right? Like we're still young, right? Like in the grand scheme of things, the rest of our lives, technology is going to transform our reality so much, right? And with AI, robotics, like everything, right? We are literally also entering the space age, something I'm really interested in. And and in that world, governments will be able to reach new heights of tyranny, right? The reality is, right, a government with bad intentions can use AI to such incredible tyrannical extents, right? Like, the government will theoretically and honestly be able to know everything about us, right, to such an extreme. And our industry is, ironically, a double-edged sword in that battle, right? Where on the one hand, it, you know, like it gives the government, right? It gives power, right? The ability to absolutely control our lives, right? Like from a financial perspective, from an identity perspective, all these things, the moment they're on chain, right? And whoever runs the chain, whoever runs the code behind, you know, the protocol, right, has an incredible position of power. But on the other hand, our industry offers non-governmental, right, like decentralized tools where we just disintermediate the government entirely, right?
Yeah,
and yeah, and it seems inevitable that in some places in the world we're going to go in the right direction, a place where individual freedom is maintained to incredible high levels, right? And like that's seen as the ideal. And in other places in the world, we're going to go in the opposite direction, where like there will be total government control and surveillance. And in that world, it seems inevitable that private money will have a really strong place to exist, like whether it's Zcash or Monero or whatever, right? Like that battle is hard to predict who's going to win, but right now Zcash is doing really well. And so, yeah, like it just, we're not going towards some sort of naive kumbaya utopia right now, right? Like the world is going in many different directions.
Yeah.
And so there is an inevitable place for privacy, for, you know, like ownership, real financial ownership, right? That doesn't depend on the government. And so, yeah, I'm quite bullish on privacy. Yeah.
No, for sure. I actually wanted to sort of like pivot a little bit into asking more about token.com. I've actually downloaded, I tested it out, right? I was actually doing like some testing of it. Seems really cool. And I guess like, where do you think it fits in with all of this going on right now? Right? Like what was sort of your motivation behind, hey, we're going to build this? When did you start building it? When did that idea come from?
Yeah.
And I guess like, where do you see this in that type of world in the future? Like where does, you know, they say that like a lot of crypto builders, a lot of crypto founders, right? You're essentially speed running time. Like you have to build something that people might not use or might not have like the greatest, like, you know, I mean, 5% of the world population is in crypto, right? Like there's still a 20x of
Yeah.
people out there. So that's sort of what I'm getting at is that, like, as the user pool continues to grow, we are going to see new products, new metas, new niches, new protocols. I guess, where do you see this sort of fitting with everything else that's going on?
Yeah. So like it actually goes back to what we were discussing earlier about how the industry has changed a lot. As it grew, inevitably it kind of, the culture changed and it became more about, you know, everyone just wants to make money, right? Instead of like philosophy, right? And what I would say is I realized that quite early, right? Because like for crypto to actually change the world, it does need to be meaningful to everyone, right? So like it's all nice being philosophical about it, but the reality is, you know, like the things we use in our real and daily lives are, you know, have utility to us, right? And crypto still doesn't have real utility for most people, right? They still live in the old world of finance. And so what our app is trying to do, right? By combining essentially like a DEX, right? It's an exchange, it's a decentralized exchange, right? A wallet combined with a social feed, a Twitter, an X style social feed, right? With video and text. We've combined the two, and all the content is about tokens, right? Like it's only every post has the token tagged, and you can buy right on that post, which then will tell the algorithm if this is a good or a bad post, right? All this sort of stuff. We're doing lots of clever stuff in the feed. This just seems to me like the obvious and inevitable way that we will all come to use crypto one day, right? Like today, it's so fragmented that, you know, you have to use DEXs, you have to use exchanges, you have to use, you know, like we're on X right now, right? Like all these different services. And this is great for people like us, right? And our listeners, right? where we know the game, we know what's up, and we know which accounts to follow and which projects, you know, are interesting. But the reality is your average friend who doesn't know about crypto, they don't know that they need to be on X and that they need to follow these specific accounts, because even if they download X, they're going to see everything but crypto. It's a general purpose platform. And so we really need this app where, you know, you just download the app and you instantly get right into the heart of the discussion, right? And like what makes token.com so interesting, and the graphics we're looking at now are actually a little outdated, right? But the big update that has come, right? Which actually, I was looking at your account on token.com, right? I'm showing it here on my in my stream.
Yeah, I have a bad call because I was joking about it was a shit post about Sol being, I think it was like 50 Sol. I can't believe 50 Sol is 3K.
Right.
Obviously, shitty math on purpose just to like get people to.
Well, it, like that. So that's like you have currently a 2.9 out of 5 rating, right? So we're rating accounts now. Like you might, you know, cringe a bit at that, but that's actually really good. Like that's actually really good right now. We're still calibrating the system, but you actually have a surprisingly good account. And as you can actually see on your account, it does say you have right now you have 100% good calls. Oh. So the score does creep up as you get more data, right? So it doesn't, if you have only one post, it doesn't immediately give you a 5-star. Like we're kind of fine tuning the math behind it. But on that post you were mentioning, the AI, right? Our token.com AI looks at, you know, any post on X that mentions a token, right? And then it adds it to the token.com feed, but it registers what token they're talking about and if it's bullish or bearish on that token. So in the case of that most recent post you made about 50 Sol, the AI thought that was bearish and the price has since gone down, right? It's since gone down. And so that is actually a good call in our system, right? Like bullish or bearish, right? Like if the price aligns with what, you know, the sentiment that you put out, that means it's a good call.
So it's not just one-way calls, right? It actually looks at two-way calls of bullish or bearish. Question for you, now that you're like explaining the product and that like it's pulling in tickers from crypto Twitter, is there I guess when you're developing this as a product, like are you thinking about it as this is going to replace Twitter one day, or this is going to be a specialized feed for the tokenized audience? Like, I guess, well, no, you are kind of already described it. You didn't describe this as a social media. You basically described it as a DEX and a wallet, essentially, right?
Yeah. So whether or not we're directly competing with Twitter, this is one of the questions that keeps me awake, right? Because like, you don't really want to compete with Elon on anything, to be honest.
No.
I think what I would say is like, as our system is currently built, we're trying to supplement X, right? So we're not trying to make you leave X, not at all, actually. Like the way it works is that you connect your X in our app, right? You hit one button to connect your X. And then from that moment on, anytime you post on X about a token, it will be scraped and enter our feed. And then when people trade on your post, right? So if people sell Sol on that post or buy, you know, ZEC because they heard your logic, right? You get the trading fees, right? And so like the goal is that you know, like we're trying to hybridize here a bit with X. What I'd say is like, it's historically been difficult for a specific app or company to cover all use cases, right? So like X is general purpose, you know, what's happening in the world right now platform, right? Social media. Whereas we are specifically optimizing and filtering for anything relating to trading, to crypto, right? Even stocks actually now, because we have, you know, all the tokenized stocks in our app. And so it's a very optimized, you know, interface, including the scores, right? Like the kind of one of the big points about our platform is that on X, right, we see a lot of influencers in crypto, right? A lot of them have huge followings and have, huge like social prestige around them and all this stuff. But the reality is, most people have no idea if these people are actually any good, right? And so this is what an optimized social trading platform like token.com can do. It's like actually bring accountability into the mix, right? Like we're putting ratings by every account and it's just based on math, right? The guy said this one thing, right? He was really bullish on this one token. Did that actually turn out to be well, right? We put the rating right next to your account name. And so,
yeah, you actually are bringing up some good points too, because during a bull frenzy, right? Like during a bull frenzy, during a bull market, what does onboarding actually look like, right? Onboarding looks like you posting about a trade or talking about a trade, or an airdrop or something that had just happened, a liquidity event, if you will, right? A normie hears about it and says, wow, that's awesome, I want to get involved, right? And they go down the rabbit hole. How far down the rabbit hole they go depends on their experiences. They might get cooked day one. They might get scammed, hacked, fished, rugged, and they might be like, all right, fuck it, I'm never coming back. Like, I'm good. Like, and we all know, probably a few dozen people each that fit into that category, that played around, metaphorically touched the stove and got burned. And they're just like, fuck it, I am never touching this shit again. It's all a scam. And not to necessarily fault them for thinking that way either, right? Because that's what their personal experience was. And I think a lot of that comes down to the information we're receiving, right? Usually step one, if someone's like, hey, I'm going to be a daily crypto participant or a trader, start learning about this, they sign up to Twitter, right? That's usually step one. Then they start following a bunch of accounts. As we know, there are a lot of like pretty nefarious accounts out there, to say it politely, in which a lot of these newcomers would get essentially rinsed. So to tie in a social metric or a score based purely off of performance, I think is interesting. I spoke with Serpentex of Ethos a few months ago, and one of the things that I see his point on it, but I kind of I'm wishy-washy on it personally, is I asked him, I'm like, how do you make sure that this doesn't get manipulated? That people with bad reputations don't simply have other people, financially back them in order for them to have a good social reputation. How do you avoid that system? And he's like, well, eventually, if there's enough people that are fed up with that, they're just going to match that capital, right? And then that sort of is what the intention of the platform is, which is interesting to me. But at the same time, I don't think necessarily answers the the social proof problem, right? Like based purely on performance, not how you feel, not emotions. Because I would say the opposite is also true. There are a lot of people on crypto Twitter that might have terrible reputations, horrible reputations, but if you followed their calls, you'd be making money.
Yeah, it's true. We've actually seen that already in the data, where we're looking, like we have a leaderboard in the app, and it's surprising how some big influencers and KOLs are coming out really well from this, where they might, have slightly controversial public personas, but they actually consistently get things right. Whereas others that are huge are terrible, legitimately terrible, right? Like Jim Cramer level terrible.
Right. But they have a good social presence. They have a good community and audience. So people respect them more, but performance-wise, it's abysmal. This is, by the way, a pattern I've recognized on crypto Twitter for years now, where you have people that are seen as the most reputable, but if you purely look at the numbers of what they've shilled, marketed, promoted, it's actually terrible. There's very few success stories out of it. Whereas a lot of the people that are villainized the most villainized, actually have a pretty successful track record in terms of pure economics. Pure economics here. I'm not talking about how or why it was successful, but hey, purely, yeah.
One of the underlying problems of that is the fact that it's the algorithm behind the social platforms we're using, in this case X, that is determining who gets the most exposure, right? And like that becomes a kind of, a feedback loop. And, the algorithm doesn't understand intuitively that, like it only looks at engagement. It doesn't look at price performance or if the calls are any good or whatever, right? It just looks at engagement. And so we're able to completely change that, where, what you're going to see in the feed is the people who are consistently rise over time. And so, I think it is inevitable that something like this wins. In fact, the big picture here, in my view, is that our industry cannot move forward unless a product like Token.com exists and actually succeeds. Because it is what you were saying earlier, how in a bull run, as there have been several in the past, all of our non-crypto friends get in, and if they are consistently getting burned like they have been in the past, our industry has accomplished nothing, right? It didn't change the world.
They're gone.
Yeah, it's gone, and that's where I feel like our industry is kind of right now, where since the current administration in the US has changed the game, particularly on an institutional level, and for crypto, it's like massively unleashed, like projects from the scary SEC, right? And this has been a really good thing, and this has allowed a lot of institutional developments. But retail users, ordinary people, are still kind of traumatized from what went down a couple of years ago, and that's like, and the reality is that there's still no real solution for them. Like nothing has actually changed crypto for them since FTX went down and Luna Terra went down, right? And so I think it is going to be a product like ours that suddenly answers all the concerns that people have, and like that's how this is gonna how our industry will slowly but surely actually change the world this time. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, a lot of the practical problems that I guess you are solving, there's quite a few, I would say, mobile competitors in this area, big companies, small companies, rising companies, where I would like to say maybe tech obfuscation is one way of putting it, where like you don't really need to, Apple Pay, you don't, you're not even, you don't care about gas fees, you're not concerned, like none of that's actually in front of the user. Recently saw you guys announced a partnership with Solana Mobile. I actually am an owner of Solana Mobile as well. I will be honest, I barely use it, but I probably should start. One of the things I was going to ask you is like, is there a special use case for using this with a Solana Mobile device? Do you think hardware is going to be something that eventually like is emerging, is going to keep growing? Is it just here for this cycle? I think a lot of people were surprised, I think, at the success of the first Solana Mobile drop. And I'll just this could be totally anecdotal, right? Like based out of my own perspective, but I feel like for the second one, it was really, really loud when it started happening, but it doesn't seem to be having the same effect like the first Solana Mobile drop, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to replicate the success of the first device, right? It also launched at a really good time, right? The market was very, very intense. But yeah, like we are indeed some of the launch partners for the Solana Seeker phone, the second Solana phone. Like I'm super on board with, crypto hardware, right? Like Solana has really, this is one of the reasons we are currently building for Solana. It's because Solana is more consumer focused. That is the reality of all the major blockchains. Solana has, does offer the best, like broadly, there are many things that are really attractive to consumers, right? There's a huge like gaming, community in Solana. they're making they have an actual phone and device, and like a lot of consumer related crypto projects and token launch platforms are focusing on Solana, for better or for worse. And so yes, for our users, right? So we like know. I mean, like it's been like we can look internally at the data. Solana Seeker phone users are actually quite large in the sense that they trade more, right? They're more active in our app compared to just regular users, from Android and iOS. And so like as part of our partnership with Seeker, with Solana Mobile, Seeker phone users can claim permanent premium in our system, which is token premium, which right now the main thing that you're getting is we're basically doubling all of your earning abilities. So any trading that's happening on your posts, if you have a Seeker phone, you get double, right?
Wait, so I want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. Maybe this could be a silly question, but so you're telling me if you're tweeting about tickers and tokens anyways, as long as you sign in and sort of like connect your account to this and people decide to trade off of the information that you were just tweeting about, and you're basically making fees on that. Is that so? 100% sure I'm like fully understanding that correctly. So
that's correct. That's correct.
I make a shit post about Zcash. Someone sees my shit post and trades on my shit post about Zcash. Yeah. I can then go into token.com and claim fees.
That's correct. That is how it works. Yeah. So the logic is that we want to create an ecosystem where people are sharing legitimate trading insights, right? Like, and like if you're like moving serious volume because of your words, because of what you're sharing with the world, right? Then you should earn the trading fees. Like right now, it's Binance and Coinbase and Uniswap and Jupiter that earn the trading fees from your like users, right? If you tell the world about a new project that you're super passionate about, and but people go trade somewhere else, and on our platform you can attribute your volume, right? And the cool thing is that when you do trade on a post, that tells our system that, oh, this is like an interesting post, like Faded made an interesting post, let's start ranking that, right? And maybe more people invest on it. So like that, it creates a volume-based system where it takes the scores into account, like what's this guy's track record, right? And that's like how we're trying to give people the most legitimate, crypto content experience in the world. Yeah.
That's insane. Wait, so I just want to, that's fucking nuts, because let's say someone like Ansem, right? If he tweets something, depending on the market timing, it could move 10 to 20, 30, 40, $50 million in volume.
That's right.
In 48 to 72 hours. If that trading is happening on token.com, or even a fraction, even let's say 5%, 10% of that trading is happening on token.com, without selling a tokenized product or a token, he can then go in there and just claim fees.
Yeah, that's completely correct. That's
I think this is actually like, this is sort of the cracked formula for CCM, honestly, because I'm thinking about it like this. I don't have to fucking sell a token, right? But if you are buying or trading off of the information that I'm talking about, I can still make money, and I don't actually have to sell a token. It's not my fault, right? Like at all. Like I'm talking about a completely third party thing. That's
and like what's so good is that we're optimizing for honesty and authenticity on our platform, because even if Ansem, right, like he knows he has huge, like power in the market, right? But if he were to screw over his audience, and it was like legit, like consciously screwing over his audience, sure, he makes a lot of money on that one trade, but his score would be damaged, right? Like it would be clear on his account, on his token.com account, that he really messed up with this one post, and that would affect his ability to, his reach in the future, right? And so it is like we're trying to balance these, these factors to where the industry rewards actual good, visionary insights as opposed to whoever can drum up the most hype.
It's fucking nuts. Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. And then from a user feedback loop, it makes sense if you're going to be moving volume, a portion of that volume. Like, I would say this is essentially a discovery tool more than anything. It's a discovery tool. I want to trade shit coins today. I have, $1,000. I'm looking to just gamble tonight. I don't know what I'm buying or what's going on. So I can curate my feed onto here and then basically, hit the casino. Start, okay, this looks cool. This looks interesting. That looks great. This looks good. Based almost entirely on social reputation.
Yeah, that's right.
That's pretty fucking cool, actually. Yeah.
And like, if you just, if you go back to showing, our streams, I can like just show over the, like,
sorry. Here you go.
Like here we can see Gainsey, for example. He's got like a 3.8, right? So we're showing his score. And then next to it says neutral, right? So posts by our AI scans the post and it'll determine if it's bullish, bearish, or neutral. And then, in this case, it's neutral, and then it tags the token, right? And as you can see, you can buy and sell right on the token. And if you and then it says how the token has performed since the post, right? So it's 2.5%. Yeah, it's 2.5% up, right? And so that's the entire feed experience. And even we even have for the TikTok generation, right? We have a video feed experience, right? Which hopefully is going to load here. Why is it not loading? Live moments. It's really good. Wait, hang on. Anyway, it's like Twitter, but it's like everything you wish you had in your, in your Twitter, content experience. Anyway, we're gonna see some crazy videos here, but we scrape the best video content from X as well.
Oh shit! Wait, so hold on.
Yeah,
this is making me think something real quick. Clippers. If a Clipper is fucking posting clips and tagging the ticker that's being talked about in the clips, and people trade on that, then that's just an additional source of revenue.
Correct.
Without having to do shit.
Yeah, and you the feedback loop that we're getting into, and the Seeker week was such a big deal for us 2 weeks ago, because we got a huge influx of users. We need big accounts, like creator accounts like yourself, to claim their their accounts, right? Because they're potentially already getting scrapes, right? All they need to do is verify their X. They can keep posting on X, but if you have a large trading following, if you can get them into our app to trade on your content, right? That then earns you fees, and that allows you to rank in the algorithm and all this sort of stuff, right? That's the feedback loop we're trying to get into. And it's starting, right? It really feels like we've been building this for years, right? And it feels like as of 2 weeks ago, we kind of got discovered by the Solana community. Yeah.
Dude, it happens. Sometimes it's like the overnight success is 5, 10, 20 years long sometimes. Not even sometimes. I think anything worthwhile takes a while, right? If it's not worthwhile, and what's fast don't last. I think this is actually really, really fascinating. I have a couple different questions for you, based off of everything that you've been saying so far. Have you followed any calls? What's some of the most successful trades? Anyone in the team? I want to know, has anybody cooked off of this? How much money have they made? Has anyone, I guess, are there any crazy fucking success stories yet of hey, I was just testing this, I bought this, and it went up insane? Or perhaps vice versa. Maybe people got rugged where they're like, hey, this guy is usually a good caller. Maybe the AI didn't call it out yet. You ape into the call and you get fucking rugged. I guess, what are some of the user stories so far?
Absolutely. I mean, there have been some completely insane calls. So what's pretty cool about our app is that if you're in the main feed and you see a token that you've never heard of, let's say you've never heard of ZEC, you can click on ZEC, and then it shows like the ZEC profile with the charts, but underneath you see all the recent posts that mention ZEC. And if you scroll, it's chronological. So if you scroll all the way down, you'll start seeing posts from a while ago that just have like stunning gains, right, on ZEC. And like, you know, if you go all the way back, you just see, you know, like, holy crap, like some of these guys really caught this early, right? And so, yeah, internally we've been looking at like Rasimer had a really good call on some token. I forget which one it was, but it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
That's insane. That is cool. That is cool. And I think it also is cool to go back and see like, all right, who was the earliest and the best caller for this specific token? Because, you know, a lot of times if like people call something around the same time, they all want to take credit in different ways. So I guess this is a way of verifying that credit, right? And like actually doing it based off of merit. I did have a question as far as, so you guys do have a token live. It's live on Base. Or is it just Base? Base
and Solana. Yeah.
Base and Solana. I actually had an interesting thesis on dual-sided liquidity pools like that, but I'll save that for after. Are there any, I guess, how long has the app been like fully live in its current state? Are like, how many rough users are there? Is it getting to a place of generating some good revenue? How do you think that ties into the token? Sort of like, we've seen this huge meta, and I don't think it's going away, where we're kind of going back to fundamentals over hype. I think Hyperliquid and Pump Fund are like two of the biggest examples of that, where, and Pump is actually an interesting case separately, but, you know, really the whole narrative and collective conviction behind it is, oh, this is a profitable company. They're making money. They have a product makes revenue. That means we're good, which is just how we look at traditional stocks, right? Like Tesla's making money. Okay, great. I don't need to know where the money is going, how it's going to, they're making money. Great, cool. You know, and like that sort of speculation is the price, basically. Are you guys at a good point of making revenue? I guess, where do you see different revenue paths moving forward?
I mean, as of the, you know, God bless the Seeker users, because revenue has gone up significantly. Like in total, we currently have about 50,000 registered users, of which 7,000 of them are Seeker phone holders, and they account for more than half of the volume, like significantly more actually. And they're mostly in the US, Korea, Japan, Hong Kong, and Singapore. And which is, you know, slightly unexpected. And I would say like we've been building this for quite a while. Like, my goodness, like we really got, like, we really accelerated in 2021. So it's been like quite a while building this. There's so much needed for our app to like get to this stage. Like it's been, I'd say the last 6 months has been the most critical. Like we've really hit our stride with rolling out new features very fast. And like the latest, like the app is legitimately amazing. Like, you know, I have screenshots of the app over the last couple of years. And if you were to have a timeline of how it's changed, it's like, it's on such an amazing trajectory. And so the roadmap is pretty packed. Like we are, you know, one of the things that we launched the token about, I think it's going on almost a year now. The token is, you know, you can stake the token, you can hold the token and get, you know, premium benefits, the same benefits that the Seeker users are holding right now. So like currently what's built already is that if you love our platform and you're a creator and you want to earn more, right, or you have lots of friends to refer, right, who do volume, if you hold our token, you just get, you know, the maximum amount that we can, you know, like of fees that you can earn, and which, you know, benefits us, right? Like the equation is pretty simple. If we have a lot of users, if we grow exponentially, a lot of people will be holding our token because, hey, our own token appears in our own feed when someone talks about it, right? Like the AI will scan it, right? If you post out a tweet, right? And like it will scan that and it'll tag the token, and like, you know, it's, you know, if our product is awesome, the thesis is that our token will go up.
You know, it's interesting. It's like a little bit of a like an interesting play, like reverse play on revenue buybacks, because essentially what you're doing is you're incentivizing the top power users and referrers to spend their own money to buy the token in order to maximize their. It's an interesting game theory. That's what I'll say, because like in a lot of the other scenarios with like it's really not up to the users at all, right? Like Hyperliquid, rain, sun, maybe they need the liquidity, maybe the users want an airdrop, doesn't matter. 98% is used for buybacks daily. Doesn't matter. Like it's already going to happen. And then for Pump Fund, there's no real clarity, and they're kind of, team just does it whenever they want. You don't really know how long it's going to keep going for either. Whereas for here, instead of playing, I don't want to say any of those games, but you're basically playing a different game theory as far as like, hey, we want to incentivize our actual power users to become stakeholders themselves, quite literally.
Yeah, I mean, that is like, the big picture of our industry is that is what tokens can do for the world, right? Like the potential for tokens at large is that, the people and technology are going to make so many amazing companies and products and ventures and ideas, right? And tokens are the vehicle that allows people like us, anyone, to, like have a stake in that concept, right? Like that really is, I think, the future of our world economy, that, like you can own what parts of the, of like the developments that's happening in the world, right? You can own part of that. You can place your bets in what you believe in. And so that's what we want for our users as well, right? Like I want to have a system. Like if Token.com becomes massively successful, right? Like I think we are building potentially $1 trillion, like think of how big social media is. Well, social media plus money and investments can be even bigger, right? It's $1 trillion opportunity. We're clearly one of the leaders in the industry, right? I think we are one of the best. We're not the only ones. I think a lot of people are realizing that this type of product is like end game. And so, our token exists because if you believe in us, you can place your bets now, right? Like the market cap's still low, right? There's only one way to go but up.
Yeah, no, and you get dual-sided. You get the if you get a good call on it, you'll get the fees from anyone that's
exactly like that's funny, because I've said like that I want the best call in our app to be my own post about our own token being like almost prophetic how much it went up over time, right? And so yeah, like that's what we're working for sure.
So I would say, do you subscribe to the thesis that like everything is like everything will be tokenized at some point, like tokenize the world, tokenize everything? We've heard that before. And I guess like, where do you see this with a future state? Obviously there's token.com, how it is right now, which is essentially a curated token feed based off of social media posts, at least from a outward facing. Inwardly, it's actually a DEX and a wallet, essentially. I guess, where do you see the future state of this product? Like, where do you think some of the next steps are? Just curious, like, and obviously, like, given everything that's happening in the industry today, bear case, bull case, like, I don't know. I just would love to know, like, what's your like next 3 to 5 year vision for this product? Like, obviously, it was definitely not what it was probably 4 years ago. And I'm sure 4 years from now, it could be something totally different.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. So like, just to answer the part about our tokens, is everything going to be tokenized? Like the rose glass colored answer is like, of course, everything's going to be tokenized.
That's like max bull case.
Yeah. I think like from a first principles perspective, I agree with that idea, because what is our industry? Well, it's just finance, but in the digital era, and therefore more efficient, faster, even, like you can have sovereign ownership, right? You can own your own Bitcoin, right? Without the bank, right? Like, this is amazing. It is the ultimate form of money, at least right now. And it's a huge leap from the paper world that our parents grew up in, and like, right? And so I think it is inevitable that it's going to win, but it just takes time. And as a side note, there's a lot of vested interest in how the world works today, right? most governments absolutely despise our industry because it's taking power away from them. They hate us. They really hate us, right? They're reluctantly agreeing to some things, right? And we are slowly winning in some parts of the world, but they really don't like us, right? And so, and the world is a huge place. There's so many assets, and tokenization in the real world is kind of messy when it comes to physical assets and all this stuff. And so it isn't going to happen overnight. It is going to take some time, but you betcha, right? Like, I'm a huge believer in that humanity is going to the stars, right? This is one of my other big interests. I'll get back to that in a sec. Like, you betcha that the cities that humanity will build on the moon, and as we spread across the solar system, they're not going to be powered by, like governments that have, like paper that are like keeping paper files and you have to wait in line to get something. No. All of that is going to be blockchain based, transparent, uncorruptible, right? Like perfected, right? Like the founding fathers of America are the greatest example of that, because America was set up with, the Constitution, right? And all these laws that they came up with together, right? And I mean, is it 250 years later, right? America still runs on the same core protocol, right? Like it's like the original smart contract or blockchain. Like, it's amazing how the system was so well designed that it has endured through incredible time, right? And like, time and time again, every 4 years, there's a new election, right? Like, it's never gone horribly wrong, right? And this, like, if the founding fathers of America had blockchain, right? You betcha they would have used that to, like, put it on chain and to make sure, right? Like, it works the way it's intended, and it can change, but only under these conditions. And like, it would have designed, they would have used code instead of paper laws, which can easily be broken.
Right.
And so, like, that is, to guarantee everyone's rights and all this sort of stuff. This sort of stuff can go on chain. So I don't know where I was going with that, but I'm super bullish on our industry as a whole. It just takes time. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think what I gathered from that was full circle back to exactly where we started, in which you were saying, very early on in your career as a young man, you sort of had an idealist perspective, right?
Yeah.
And that eventually changes when you realize sort of the realities of the world. So
now, and then answering your other question there, which was, okay, well, what is token.com in the next couple of years, right? Well, like, crypto still is kind of immature today, right? So like, tokens are becoming more interesting, but most of it is still like kind of protocol heavy. It's very technical. It's not that interesting to people outside of crypto, right? Like, generally, right? It's not like you can invest in like the local yoga studio or like some space company, right? But that is exactly what we're preparing token.com for. So today, when you open your feed, you're seeing Zec, you're seeing, like, these are interesting things, right? Like, it's definitely more interesting than it has been in the past. Like, but that's what you're seeing. But where I want to get to is, in 2 or 3 years, I think that when you open the token.com feed, you will, like, our app will know your interests, like, right? Like, in my case, it'll know that I'm really into like space, right? And so it will show me tokens and investments in companies that are doing things in space, right? And I'll see my other space friends invest in like this one, and like I might invest in the other one, right? Like, that is the investing world that I think we're going to, where it's just this, constant, like, amazing, very visceral and like very visual investing experience, right? That makes investing accessible to everyone. Most people still don't understand investing, and that's insane. It's a lot easier than people think. It's just kind of hard to do it right.
And this is where it becomes more social. Mel, appreciate you. Thank you again for your time. Excited for a lot of the clips that are going to come out of this. Thank you for sharing a vision with what you're building. It was interesting. It's definitely very interesting. Definitely come back at some point whenever you guys have like another big update or anything going on. I would love to have you guys whenever. So appreciate you, and we'll chat soon. We'll chat again soon.
Thank you so much. This was such a great call, Faded. Really enjoyed it. Very thought-provoking. That's always good.
Of course. Hey, thanks, Mel. Have a good one.
Thank you so much. Bye. Take care, everyone.
Ciao. Woo! All right, guys. All right. WML. We have our next guest already here, already in the virtual backstage. They're about to come up in a second. Been sharing some alpha with you guys in a few different private group chats. So I'm excited to learn more about this product. It's called Tunnel.io. Essentially, like, I don't know how to describe this. Kaido Flash. I don't know, man. It's instant creator pay. Anyhow, we'll jump right into it. We got the team here. Hey Kyle, hey Morgan. Nice to connect.
What's going on, man? Thanks for having us.
Hey, thanks for making time. I appreciate you guys. Especially with market looking not too hot last week or so. Last month or so, actually, to be honest. So I don't know. I think it's a tough time for people to continue going. It's a tough time for builders, but I think it's also the most rewarding time, like for sure. So
I agree.
Time to pivot to stables.
Pivot to stables.
Hey, we're dishing out USDC every single day, so stop by Tunnel, make some content, and get paid in 48 hours, man.
Wait a minute. Dude, you guys are like perfectly fucking timed. It doesn't matter.
I think that's what we're seeing over the last week as well. It's like, okay, everyone's kind of getting tired of InfoFi. Airdrops get delayed, tokens dump at TGE, but you come to Tunnel, you make a piece of content, you get USDC straight to your wallet in 48 hours.
Bro, what the fuck? Okay, sorry. The reason I'm so excited about this is because it makes, like, you're one of the few products or projects that I would say has a bull case in a bear case. So
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. And even in a bull case, like, there's still, maybe I don't know. This is fascinating. Before, like, a lot of people don't even know what we're talking about yet. And I want to introduce you guys. Kyle, Morgan, part of the team, founding team.
We're co-founders. I'm CEO and Morgan CTO.
Awesome. Thanks for taking your time out. I always like to start these chats with like getting a background story, like your Batman origin story, how you got involved with crypto, like how did you end up on this side of the internet? How did eventually that lead to creating your own product and project? And I don't know, I just find those stories very interesting, and I think they're very inspiring for the audience as well to get a lot of value out of. So I don't know, either one of you guys wants to go first.
Yeah, Kyle, I'll let you kick it off.
Yeah, I'll kick it off. I'll keep it high level. So I got into the space 2019, which my senior year of high school, and probably like most of us, just started buying a few tokens. Got onto Twitter and came across Chainlink like right after they launched on mainnet. So got pretty interested in oracles and what you could do by bringing real world data on chain. And then DeFi summer hit the following year, so just got pretty close to the space and spent a lot of time on CT and obviously noticed creator marketing. There was a ton of it going on, and I was like, cool, like what platforms is this stuff happening on? And then I figured out it's all over Telegram and DMs and people with spreadsheets. So I figured why not combine Chainlink oracles and smart contracts to actually make a platform to run large scale creator activations using the tech that we're all interested in and in the industry for. So I actually built that out for a Chainlink hackathon in college, won a prize, and actually connected with Morgan as he was one of the judges for that hackathon. But that's me. I do all of our BD and marketing, but I'll let Morgan kick off his story now.
Yeah. So I actually was at Chainlink Labs. I've been there, or was there for about 3 years. Left last November, actually. So this is the full year now. I've been full-time on Tunnel. But the way I actually got into the space is I was running an e-commerce company all through college. And I always wanted to do like influencer or creator marketing. But the process is always like you DM people, they either don't respond or they're like, I want $1,000, it's upfront payment, and there's no guarantees, right? Like if I send you this $1,000, you're just gonna take my money and run. And it's a small business, so I couldn't, I really couldn't leverage it. So I actually learned about crypto, not because of cryptocurrency or anything, but just because of smart contract escrow. Like if you could lock funds in a contract and guarantee that those funds are only released when someone actually does whatever you're paying them for, that was super powerful. But the real problem there is you have the data problem where, sure, you have a smart contract, but a blockchain can't talk to like anything on the internet, right? So if you want to say pay someone for a social media post, you need some way to be able to check if that social media post is actually posted. So I learned about Chainlink and data feeds and all the stuff they provide. And I really realized if we want to get social media data onto the blockchain so that we can do smart contract escrow creator marketing, you really need to leverage something like that. So I built a hackathon project. It enabled arbitrary compute on a decentralized Oracle network. Complicated way of saying it lets you get any data you want from the internet. So checking views on a YouTube video, a tweet, whatever. So I built out that, and I actually won a prize in the Chainlink hackathon and got hired. That was fall of 2021. Spent 3 years at Chainlink building out Chainlink functions, which was the actual product of that concept that I built for the hackathon. And I always knew I wanted to use that for what we're doing right here now at Tunnel. So left last November to do this full time.
Guy's a giga brain.
It's fucking nuts, bro. That's nuts. I like how with Kyle, he's like, yeah, I just started on CT. And with Morgan, he's like, yeah, I work with some of the largest companies and projects in the entire space. But it just shows that like anyone can meet any the crypto space. I feel like from a demographic standpoint is like super diverse. Like you have people that come from TradFi, you have some dark world people, you got some like super nerdy
All walks of life.
Yeah, dude, you have like everybody, like all different walks of life. And it's interesting to hear these like founder stories when they kind of click up and they're like, oh, let's do something together. I think you guys are solving a very vital problem. And I think something that I had actually ideated a similar like product idea like 4 or 5 years ago as well, similar to you guys. It was because of large pain points in dealing with this. As a payment provider, if you're organizing a KOL campaign or if you're the agency operator, it's really hard to have a system of not only sourcing the talent, but then paying them and then making sure that the job is done. Really, it's like 3 jobs. It's like, all right, I got to find you. Now I got to pay you. And I got to make sure you are doing what you were paid for, which is like the biggest pain in the ass of being like a KOL manager or a KOL
Huge
marketer.
Pain in the ass.
Massive pain in the ass. And then from the opposite end, it's also true. From a KOL or an influencer marketer standpoint, there are plenty of times where projects will hit you up. Hey, I'm promising you XYZ token. I like that you guys are just doing USDC. Actually, now that I'm actually thinking and talking about this right now, hey, we're going to hook you up with like 2-3 grand worth of tokens. We need this like month-long campaign, whatever. You end up getting the tokens. They're worthless. Or you might not get it at all. The team rugs it. Now you look like an asshole for marketing a rug. And, they got away scot-free. You basically just got robbed. So those are like the 2 biggest problems I see is like creators getting scammed and then also marketers getting scammed as well too. Actually, another problem, you were mentioning agencies. Going back 2021, 2020, I'm sure you guys definitely sound like you would be very familiar with this. You basically had these like agency cabals that would get the top talent and then raise their market rates to unreasonable levels during bull season.
Yeah.
Right.
Crazy shit.
So you would have like a group of, let's say 2 or 3 agencies that have the top 50 creators. And then they start, hey, well, if you want this creator's post, it's going to be 10, 20 grand. I remember during the NFT bull meta, there were people charging 20 to 30 grand for like one post. And to be honest, who's actually getting fucked from that is the end consumer and the client that needs marketing.
Yeah, it's just unsustainable, right? I mean, sure, that stuff can work in a bull market, but like, I've just been building this space now for like 5 years. I was like, if I want to stay building for another 5 years, another 5 years after that, we just can't rely purely on speculation. Like the fundamental business model has to work. And honestly, it's been tough sometimes to like stick to our guns of it's got to be USDC, right? Because someone will come to us, hey, there's this big token deal. And you start talking, you realize there's just too much risk and volatility. And we don't want to push that off onto users. So if you're just like, hey, come with USDC or don't come at all. And I think too, that's been sort of like a gift and a curse, because on one side, like there's, it's USDC, it's not going to vary much, but yeah, it's kind of tough in a bull market sometimes, because so many people are like, hey, there's this project they're giving away like $1 billion, or, sometimes they'll say like, literally, we're giving away $100 million to users at whatever valuation, right? Like, we don't know the valuation, but somehow we're just going to give away this much money. But people actually buy into that, right? And so they're like, oh, on Tunnel, I get paid, maybe it's like 25 or 50 or 100 or even $200 a post. But if I get paid in this speculative token that could go to like a Billy market cap, it's getting paid, 1,000, 20,000 a post. And I think that's the real thing, is like, we're just like, hey, this is going to make sense in the long run. So in the bull markets, you look like you're underpaying, but in the bear markets, you're the only one that survives.
Right. And the other thing is too, it's just also really bad incentive alignment. I'm KWell. You pay me $10,000 in token. I shill token to my audience. In order for me to get paid, I have to dump on them.
Dump.
Yeah.
So like, if you like the project, if you like the project, just use your USDC to buy it.
Or but then it gets worse. You do like the project, and you're like, I'm fucking holding this shit forever. And
everyone else dumps.
2 weeks later, it's fucking your 10 grand is now worth, $50. And you're like,
it's crazy, man. I think, that's the big thing too. And now with, how many Kaito betas are there? 10 projects saying, hey, we're giving away 0.5% to 2% of our token. They tell you it's worth, $4 or $5 million. And, you yap about it for a month or two, sometimes even longer. Projects push back TGE, and then you get the tokens and everyone dumps. So I think sometimes too, people come onto Tunnel and they're like, hey, you guys are only paying us, 5, 10, 50, $100. A little bit insight into how we calculate payouts on Tunnel. We'll look at multiple InfoFi metrics as well as your X account analytics, and then our algorithm will determine a payout. And, we try to have this be logical using, CPM rates. I think a lot of, the KOL market in the past, honestly, forever on crypto Twitter, there's been no sense or logic behind what people are getting paid. So we've kind of been fighting an uphill battle, trying to actually make this, a sustainable market and have it make sense. And I think some people push back, but I think a lot more people are receptive to it now, because you come onto Tunnel, you don't have to fuck with anyone, you don't have to talk to anyone, you just claim your deal, you do your post, and you get paid. So I think a lot of people are enjoying that and having a great experience on the platform so far.
Yeah, another thing that's cool too is just the volume we've been able to drive, right? Like normally you've got one deal, maybe you're only doing a couple deals a week, because there's just so much back and forth, and there's negotiating, and you got to get your draft approved and all this stuff. We're on Tunnel. People are doing, right now our limit's up to 3 deals per day on faucet campaigns, 3 deals per day on boost campaigns. So you can actually get paid up to 6 times per day. And so being able to do that really, really fast has been super effective. And just people seeing oh, I can churn out volume. I do a really good post and then immediately submit it and get paid for it 48 hours after the smart contract.
I tested it this morning. I
saw that. How was the experience?
Bro, so I spent a total time, about 45 minutes. There was 2 active, the only 2 that I could do. One sent me an offer, then the other one I had to go claim or something like that. And then I spent maybe 15 minutes researching each one. Spent another 5 minutes making a post, about 45 minutes total. And I think my payout is $400 or something like that. So I'm like, what the fuck? I just made $400 in 40 minutes. And I can just do this shit every day if there's something
every day. Yeah. We've since we launched in May on base public beta, we've done about $425,000 in payouts so far, and anticipating rapidly. So since August, we've paid out over $10,000 every single week.
The way this market's looking, you guys are gonna have to be doing a lot more payouts soon, man. So somebody got to keep the economy going, man.
Pretty much.
100%, man. 100%.
No, but honestly though, I do think it's timing wise, incredible timing to have something like this ready and prepped. I think it does solve a lot of problems. Speaking to my actual specific user experience, in case anybody hasn't tested it yet, basically you input a draft before you even make the post or submit it. So I created a draft. I created like one or two. The second one got approved. It actually identified what I was missing in the first one. Gave me a full breakdown of like, hey, this is how you fix it. I made the quick fix, put it in there, saved it, posted, took the link, pasted the link in there, and that was it. And then it said it was going to verify. It said it was like up to an hour to verify. I came back like around an hour later and it was verified, good to go. And I'm like, holy shit, that was like super
Yep.
simple.
And then 48 hours later, you'll get paid straight to your wallet. But that's actually where the cool part comes in that I think a lot of people might overlook. So what happens is this is the product that Morgan actually built at Chainlink. It's called Chainlink Functions. So it'll use the Chainlink Oracle network to actually query an LLM off chain, and then it'll cross verify all the brand requirements. So the stuff that you're being paid to post about, and it'll check against your draft to make sure that you complied with all the instructions. And then it'll tell the smart contract like, hey, this guy posted the correct stuff. We're good to pay him in 48 hours.
That's incredible because like that's one of the things that like I've always thought a product like this would struggle with is quality assurance. Do you guys have any example? How long has this been live, by the way? I don't know how late.
Since May.
Since
So
May.
how many months is it? 5 or 6?
5 or 6 months. Okay. I mean, we're still relatively. I mean, we're early, right? Like it's still relatively early, especially in this type of market. So
I think I would note too. So Tomo right now, I mean, super high level. It's an on-chain platform to do campaigns on X. This is like the very first inning. We're actually going to be in white paper mode over the next few weeks. And we got a lot bigger vision coming. So I would say stay tuned for that. We'll have updates coming soon, but Morgan's probably got something to add there.
Yeah. So honestly, everything we've built so far is purely the MVP. I mean, like we're doing great. I mean, $400,000 in payouts is awesome. But like everything we're doing right now is just building the infrastructure for what we're building next. So we identified that crypto Twitter is the ideal first market, partly because people are already familiar with using the blockchain, like they understand stable coins, they understand like an AI oracle, and they get this stuff. So it was the perfect first group of users to use a product like this and help us build it out. And now we actually have a user experience that's nice. And we'll be continuing to make that even better where, people don't want to have to paste a wallet. So integrating things like Privy and leveraging that even more. But the whole point of this is never just to do marketing for like Web3. I mean, that's awesome. And I will always support those users because it's my passion. But the goal here is to do marketing for all of social media and actually make something that enables that and makes this possible. So definitely stay tuned. I've actually been putting in some time to do some deep research and communicate these ideas about what does the modern attention economy look like, why is it fundamentally broken, and what technologies are needed to fix it.
Yeah, no, I think you guys are on the money. I think InfoFi opened up crypto people's eyes to UGC, basically. A concept that's been popular in e-com and social media marketing for at least the last 5 to 7 years. I think, we've already had UGC platforms like Billow was one of them. I can't think of some of the others, but like in case anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, essentially there are these platforms where you can hire small to mid-sized creators across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. A lot of e-com stores will pay like 15, 20 bucks. Very little, like 15 to 50 bucks, maybe at most $100, $200 at most, for these creators to then make a post and then share it on their socials. Crypto over the last 5 to 7 years has had a massive price disparity as far as the value of CPMs. Let's just call it what it is. So I think some of the pushback that you got, and to be very transparent, I think you guys are going to get a lot more pushback, to be honest. Because introducing something like this, if it actually, if it continues to work at greater and greater and greater scales, is going to lower that price of CPM. The KOLs that were charging $30,000 for a fucking post are no longer going to be able to do that. And, as much as we might think that's a bad thing, it's probably a good thing because now those funds could be spread out to a larger group and pool of participants. We're going to continue to add, like, we can't grow if all the money is being concentrated where it's least effective and productive, essentially.
Exactly. We need to spend
I think
efficiently. If we're going to grow the crypto community at large, it doesn't make sense to keep shoveling money into the top 1% of 1%. We actually need to invest in things that drive value for the ecosystem.
Right. Kyle, I know you were saying something.
Yeah, Morgan damn near took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to say the market has been like so inefficient when you're paying people that much. And when you look at CT, like CPM isn't even a concept. And I think we came into it, like I mentioned earlier, like, hey, like let's try to make this sustainable. Let's try to make this make sense and make sure that, you know, advertisers are actually getting a solid ROI. And I still think CPMs generally will be higher on CT just because it's such a niche space still. But I mean, it just doesn't make sense paying $300, $500 CPMs. And, you know, we're paying much lower than that on Tunnel, but I still think, you know, we're doing our best job to make sure that creators are getting a fair rate for their work. But at the same time, it's in our best interest to also make that the brands using Tunnel are getting strong ROI. Because if they're not going to come back. And then those payouts are also going to dry up to the creators as well. So it needs to make sense for all parties involved.
It's a whole economy. You guys are literally building a whole fucking economy in a way. Like it's a sub economy.
It's kind of funny because we keep talking like, oh, the payments are lower than you might expect. There's still people that have made over $10,000 in the past.
Dude, I saw that
Tunnel.
Zoo. My boy Zoo. Didn't he make like four racks in like the last month or some shit? Like
like it's crazy. If you're consistent on Tunnel, like a guy like Zoo, you know, making like $20 to $40 a post, but he shows up every day since like July. He's probably clearing $50 to $100 a day. And he's good. And dude, he's a relatively small account, but like he's organic. He shows up and he creates good content. So it's like, dude, if you provide value, like you can do well on Tunnel. I think the part of crypto's, I don't want to say downfall, but everyone in our industry thinks like, hey, I deserve so much money just because I made a few tweets. It's like, dude, that's not reality. And I think people just need to, you know, kind of try to find reality a little bit and, you know, be okay with, because in reality, it's like, hey, you're essentially moving your thumbs and making hundreds of dollars a day, posting tweets, which is kind of crazy to think about when you look at it that high level. It's like you're literally getting paid to move your thumbs on a keyboard and post a tweet.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to test it today. I'm like, okay, how long would this take? Whatever. Again, 40 minutes of my time, $400. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Yeah.
Which is, and I think when you look at it, like our system, like when we evaluate your metrics, like, dude, you got a banger account, you got a great audience, you got good reach. So, you know, $200, it's a good deal for a brand, in my opinion.
Oh, it's a great deal for a brand. That's why, you know, realistically, like under normal, I wanted to test it. Like under normal conditions, it's probably something I would refuse.
Yeah.
But I actually wanted to test the product so I can actually give legitimate feedback on it.
You actually, you bring up a good point there. There's a few other creators pretty much said the same type of thing. I'm not gonna dox, but creator told me today, hey man, I usually charge like, you know, $500 to $600 for a post. You know, he gets anywhere from like 100 to 150 on Tunnel. And he said, the fact that I don't have to talk to an agency or like wait for a bunch of approvals or go through a bunch of back and forth, like I am super happy to charge or accept 100 to 150 bucks on Tunnel because it's so easy to use.
Efficiency, time efficiency, I think is the other thing. And then at the end of the day, how was I going to describe it? It's like time efficiency and then also volume. Because you're more efficient, you can handle more deal flow. And what I would imagine what will eventually happen, I don't know if this is the next iteration of this product, but what I imagine would happen if you do have a couple banger $200 posts and you're a relatively large CT account, that project that now just got exposure to you from Tunnel, maybe they wouldn't have seen you or noticed your account otherwise, or would have gotten lost in a sea of other accounts, right? May or may not reach out separately now and be like, hey, we want to pay you even more. We want to give you a bigger deal. We want to, you know, do an exclusivity contract or something.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of upside for the creator, I think, one, you're getting exposure to new potential long-term clients.
Yeah,
I think the
'cause
other cool
like Tunnel
thing-
doesn't let you select a particular creator, right? You're running these large scale campaigns. And so I think the key here is that if someone does want to come to you, like let's say you do a great job with the post, they can still go direct to you. And we have no problem with that. I mean, we want to encourage this community because like even us, like we have gone sometimes like on LinkedIn. Sometimes I'll pay Web3 marketers to post about us on LinkedIn. Like, hey, I want honest product review. And the reason I know I'm paying more, but it's because I'm going to a very specific person who has a very specific audience and asking for a specific thing. And we don't like try to replace that. We're like, hey, do you want large scale campaigns? Well, then you use our product. If you want to work with specific creators, go to that creator. It's always good to get discovered that way too.
I think the other cool thing that creators have told us they enjoy about the platform is just seeing like projects that are, posting activations on Tunnel and just being able to learn about new projects that, might be early. Like for example, Sixer and Integra both have Kaito leaderboards now, but they've been running activations long before they were on Kaito on Tunnel. So some creators who did deals for those projects, when the Kaito leaderboards came out, they were already ranked like number 1 or top 10 because they were doing deals on Tunnel about them before. So I think there's just like, if you're a creator on CT and you're not on Tunnel, like I would say join. You can make USDC every single day, and you're gonna put yourself in position to run into some pretty unique opportunities.
Pretty interesting. And I think I want to get your guys' like overall thoughts on marketing agencies. We talked about some poor examples. Obviously, there's plenty of really good examples out there too. I don't want to make them all sound like they're bad. I actually could potentially see a world where a marketing agency could use this in addition to a focused KOL campaign, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want to get more noise, like not noise, but if you want to get like more energy and eyeballs around a specific KOL campaign, ad, promotion, something that you're doing, you can totally tie that in with this as well.
Yeah, we're actually already working with several agencies. So I think they see us, as a product where, they're probably doing a larger, month by month activation with a client, but, portion of that spend, they want to come to Tunnel and activate, the creators on Tunnel. So that's something we're doing pretty actively right now.
Awesome. No, it makes perfect sense. And I would imagine that business is going to definitely continue to expand really fast for you guys as well too, because I used to work at TikTok, and one of the things I worked with at TikTok was agencies, growth agencies. And a lot of people don't realize for social media companies, like 30 to 40% of their overall revenue is actually driven by like these arbitrage agencies that are going out and then bringing these clients to spend ad money or ad spend. So you'll have these conglomerates of like maybe a dozen agencies that account for like billions of dollars in revenue a year, just because they're like the plug, they're like the connect, they're sort of bringing that in. And I could totally see a world where the end facing client might not even know that they're running a Tunnel campaign potentially. They have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure that's happened more than once so far, but
yeah. But anyhow, very, very long-winded. Didn't mean to like kind of go on a rant there. How do you guys feel about agencies in general? Obviously, we've already said you've been working with some. Have you been thinking about making product integrations to service them, or like kind of like how do you kind of picture that part of the business continuing to develop?
yeah, I think I mean, I don't want to speak for all agencies. I think some agencies probably not so good, and some agencies do a great job. We work a lot with Hype, so definitely shout out to Hype. I think they're an agency that does a great job, and I don't think they're going to go anywhere. I mean, they've been around for a long time, and I don't see them being removed. We're definitely not trying to out agencies. I mean, I think as we were just talking about, they bring us a lot of deal flow and pretty good relationship. As far as the product side, I mean, that might be kind of spilling the beans into what we have coming up, but Morgan, I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah. I think like just commenting on the agency point is agencies do way more than just pay KOLs. Like that's a very robotic thing. And I think agencies that specialize on high level strategy and brand messaging, these are things that are very difficult, and no level of AI or automation is going to replace that. So I would say agencies that are focused on just paying KOLs and they've got a spreadsheet and they're just going to manage
Not
funds.
going to make it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we're replacing you. But if you but if you're like actually doing high level strategy and stuff like that, I love working with people like that because they can come to us and be like, we got this super cool idea for a narrative and this is the messaging and this is how we're going to communicate it. And our AI does a really great job of making sure that these creators stay on those messaging points. So yeah, I think that's kind of the relationship I see with agencies. And I want to automate more and more of the robotic stuff that agencies do. I mean, we're seeing things like short form. We're seeing things, podcast, YouTube videos, long form. There's all these
Clips.
different ways that that social media is going crazy. Clips, yes, that's another one. And what we're seeing is there's this huge attention economy that's got all these different use cases. And at first, it's kind of overwhelming. Like, am I going to try to build for every single one of these use cases? No company can really do that. It's hard to maintain focus on all these things. So I think what I'm really excited by is how do you provide a platform where anyone can build their specific use case on top of it? Like they've got their own different reward structure. They're looking for their own specific kind of content. The real key is how do you, one, verify the analytics? So making sure that all the views are actually real, that all the analytics you're seeing, the locations, right? Like where are the views coming from? A view out of Pakistan is worth a lot less than a view out of the United States, for example. Making sure everything's legit, that there's no bots. Then the next component is smart contract escrow, making sure people are actually going to get paid if you say you're going to pay them. And then finally being able to figure out, like, calculate that reward formula and what are the criteria for content to meet requirements and what are people going to get paid based on the quality of that content and the quality of the account that's posting it. So these are the core problems that we are going to be solving at Tunnel.
No,
Also, to Morgan, I don't know if you mentioned, but being able to automatically verify content at scale. I think when you look at these like Web2 UGC platforms, over the past 5-10 years, I think a big problem is that they weren't able to fully automate this stuff end to end. So it's still just a huge bottleneck. Right now, we've been able to automate everything end to end, verifying content with AI. Right now, it's just text-based posts on X, obviously, but the next step is going to be, how do we have an AI automatically verify clips and UGC content, all this short form stuff? Because once you can do that, you can fully run these autonomous campaigns at scale, and no aspect of the campaign is a bottleneck.
Yeah. The funny thing is it's not even hard. Like I think a lot of times you say like, oh, ChatGPT wrapper is sort of a way to criticize a company. It's like, no, that's awesome. Like the fact that I actually can take an off-the-shelf thing, like there's still a lot of level of tuning, and of course you need the data to be able to train these things and refine them. But at the end of the day, just being a wrapper around these existing AI models, but then combining all these different pieces of tech, whether it's ZK, TLS verified analytics, smart contract escrow, AI content verification, you stitch it together and you've got a super compelling product.
100%. I mean, I one of the biggest things I say this all the time, like I feel like a broken record, but I personally believe within the next 1 to 2 years, technical moats are going to be a thing of the past. Doesn't really matter. I think most things will be, replicable within let's say 30 to 90 days at most within the next year or two. But I do think the one thing that will sort of allow products to obviously sustain and thrive is going to be creative / branding, community formation, and ultimately distribution. Like if they sort of have those 3 different areas, it doesn't matter if someone else made a better version of the same product. People are going to come to you because they already fuck with you. They're already familiar. You've already built a rapport with them, for a certain period of time. And I think that's just like where things are going. And I think that's going to happen with individuals too. Like we're going to be so hyper efficient and so hyper optimized, at least some of us, that I think a lot of people have said like it's going to create a pretty wide divide in terms of people.
Yeah, it's an interesting point for sure. I think another kind of similar interesting point is just going off of what Morgan said. When you look at most companies, usually human operators are the inefficiency, but being able to combine smart contracts, AI, and oracles, being able to create hyper automated systems where you don't need human intervention, that's where I think all of this is headed.
I do think another moat here that is under thought of is security. I think that in a world of vibe coding where everyone's making these things, like you can replicate things really fast, but we're already seeing the consequences of that. That security is a real problem, that you still need to keep security as a number one priority. And like secure compute environments are super critical. You know, smart contract escrow is it's not enough just to like tell someone that you're going to pay them. It should be cryptographically impossible to scam people. I mean, that's why I've been a crazy fan of Chainlink. You know, I'll love Chainlink till the day I die, and it's because of that message they've got of we want to create cryptographically verified systems where it's impossible for people to be scammed. This is what the code says, this is what the code does, and there is no ambiguity. And so that's something I'm really passionate about as a developer, and I want to continue to work on is how can you build transparent systems where you can see where all the money's flowing and you can see exactly what it's going to do.
You bring up an incredible point, and I would say that that is something that probably will always have its own moat, albeit technical or non-technical, is anything involving the transfer of and movement of money, because every day that passes in which everything is like it's all good, like things are just still moving as intended, that's like an extra trust point that you can't buy, like that just comes with time, right? Like if this 5-10 years from now, if Tunnel is one of only a few different products that are offering this and it's been the most safe the entire time, that's not something you could you can't buy that user trust. Like there's nothing you can do to buy that.
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
like
circling back. Kyle, I'll let you go for it.
oh yeah, I was gonna say yeah, if I had to go lend money on chain, like I'm gonna go to Aave. I'm not gonna go to some
Right.
brand new lend and borrow platform. It's just not worth it, especially like if you're holding funds or transferring funds. Like I'm not trying to raw dog a vibe coded smart contract.
No, seriously.
Right.
And then this is solving such a critical problem, like, where this fucks up, it could be really bad. Imagine someone announces a $10 million campaign. You have tens of thousands of people that are expecting money, and then it rugs, right? Or like one person hacks the contract and then it makes all the money. Like that could be really, really bad, like project ending, platform ending potentially too. Now the user trust is completely gone. So
circling back to, I think too, like the agency point, we talk about like, are we directly competing with agencies or what does this relationship look like? One of the things that I am really passionate about is like, we can keep agencies honest too. Because there's the good agencies that have good brand names, they're probably not going to screw anyone over, but there's a lot of small businesses and independent operators who want to run agencies. But the problem is they don't really have the brand trust, right? Because they're holding on to a customer's funds. It could be hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're now supposed to pay out, to a podcast or to talent from whatever different thing. And being able to have a platform that securely escrows and transfers those funds, now you actually enable more small mom and pop agencies to run their businesses and handle huge amounts of funds. Because it's like, oh, I'm not handling the funds. I am setting up the Tunnel campaign. And then you can look at the code. It's verified. It's audited. This is how the funds are going to flow through the system. So I think by providing a security platform, you actually enable significantly more wealth transfer to occur and actually enable more opportunities for everyone.
You're also solving, like, not to hammer the fucking point home, but administrative and accounting inefficiencies, right? Like the administrative inefficiency of having a manual spreadsheet with 50 tweets and going and manually verifying the performance of every single one, then going and mapping that to the creators' wallets, then sending the like as these sound like simple things, but it's tedious especially at scale. Like it's not easy. I did want to showcase a little bit, and then we have some questions in the chat we'll get to, but I did want to actually showcase the platform itself. Especially because I tested it out today, just so people can see like what it looks like. So this is like the entry dashboard, request faucet, and I'll let you guys explain it. But from my understanding, it's basically like a first come first serve campaign. Is that sort of the best way of describing it?
Yeah. So there is gating for faucets on like a campaign per campaign basis. So we do have a tier system called Tunnel Tiers where, creators are ranked and assessed based on multiple different metrics. So it's bronze 1 through 3 through silver, gold, and diamond. So for example, if you're running a faucet, you could say, hey, I only want creators silver and up to be eligible to participate. And that's always up to the brand,
Yeah.
just based on what they're looking for.
So I suppose like circling back, we have two different kinds of campaigns. There is a boost and a faucet. A boost campaign is amplification for a single post. So if you see that launch boost, this is where you can come in, you can take your tweet link, paste in there, select a budget anywhere from 50 to 1,000 USDC and launch a boost. And you can actually see as you scale that slider, we're not just giving you more creators, we're actually scaling the quality. So when you're up at that $1,000 tier, these are some of the biggest and best creators on Tunnel. So this allows them to then quote tweet you. So they're going to claim offers for a set amount and they're going to quote tweet you. We verify that quote tweet is positive sentiment, relevant to the actual tweet that's being quoted, and then just overall good quality. And then the creator can submit and get paid. So that's like the simplest campaign we have that's fully self-service. You go in, you connect your wallet, you launch it. Then these faucet campaigns, these are larger campaigns starting at 2,500 and up. And this is where we're actually going to work with who's ever wanting to launch that faucet. We'll draft requirements. We'll kind of help them think through like, hey, here's the core messaging that you want to have. So most of the campaigns you're seeing here are those faucet campaigns where we've actually talked to the brand and actually have set this up for them. So this is kind of nice because people that come in, they like don't have, $2,500 is a lot of money. Well, hey, you can still launch a boost, fully self-service and work with those creators. Or you can go top of market and launch a faucet with us as well.
So sick. Okay, cool. So faucets are more, I guess, I don't want to say boutique, but like customized campaign. Boutique. I mean, yeah,
Yes.
why not?
Yeah, they're like for larger scale, custom structured activations versus Boost is just like, hey, a single post. I can launch this in 10 seconds. I want people to quote tweet me to get more amplification.
Makes sense. This is really, really cool. And then yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you go to the search bar on campaigns, type in Sixer. It's actually a pretty cool case study that we did last week. So Sixer obviously has the Kaito leaderboard, and they came to us and they basically said, hey, like we want to use Tunnel to try to keep our mind share on Kaito above a certain threshold. So we did 4 activations over a 4-day period. If you go up to that one, part 3, you can click, or the one to the left. Yeah, that one right there. So if you click into that and go to the leaderboard, you'll see like a bunch of top yappers. So 252 participants pushed 300 posts. And this was over like 36 hours. So basically we were able to drive their Kaito mind share from like, I think 50 bips all the way up to 3.65% within like 3 days, which is pretty incredible. I think all in, it was about $9,000 of spend and a $10 CPM.
What?
Yeah, man, pretty crazy stuff.
What? Bro, that's
Yeah.
fucking crazy. That's actually like really good number. Like if people don't know from like the marketing standpoint, like that's actually really like insane. Like
Yeah, man, as total stats, it was so 4 different faucets, 433 posts went out in a 96-hour period, and we were able to like almost 6x their mind share.
Okay, cool. And then you have this thing, the tickets thing. I think I understand it. I want to make sure I do, I guess. But you take these tickets and you could enter it into a jackpot raffle. Is that how that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is our kind of way to be able to give back to the community. So tickets are a way where you can come in and you can earn tickets in addition to USDC on your deals. So I know that we're against speculation writ large, but I think we also know that people love to be able to participate in things where they can earn extra rewards. And so what we actually do is allow people to earn these tickets, and even creators who are maybe like super, super small and their metrics aren't quite good enough that they could earn guaranteed USDC on deals, well, they can still actually earn tickets too. So even if you're a small account, come to Tunnel, check it out. You can earn these tickets for doing posts, and you can redeem these tickets, and we'll be doing a drawing where we're randomly selecting people who are actually going to win based on the number of tickets they've redeemed for a particular season. And what's kind of cool about this is you can either hold your tickets and keep them. You can play in the lottery right away, or you can hold your tickets long term and play for future seasons, or we'll just say future allocation.
That's this is really, really fascinating. Cool. And you know what I like about this element too is that it keeps the user from the creator standpoint from coming back, because now, like, the second I saw this, I was like, oh shit, like, the more I enter in here, the bigger chance I have of like hitting one of these big fucking jackpots. Like, I don't know, there's like an addictive
It's just
thing
it's
there.
a little bit of, add a little
like
bit
extra
of
fun
gamification to it.
Yeah, for sure. This is
And then another thing, if you want to click your profile, so scroll down on your profile. So we've integrated the TweetScout API as well as the Kaito API, so you can see, like, your smart followers, your profile score, your yaps, and then your average, timeline views and engagement rate. So all that data is what goes into the payout algorithm. And basically determines, your reward when you participate in campaigns.
nuts. Absolutely fucking nuts, dude. This is cracked. I want to know a little bit more. This was one of the questions we had in the chat from Stunner. It was actually a pretty decent sized Clipper account, but how are these tiers worked out? I guess it's a proprietary algorithm. Like, do you have tips or tricks for any users that, I guess he said, and I don't know, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, for small accounts, it's mainly ticket payouts as opposed to USDC, or is it a combination of both? How do people get to like a stage where they're monetizable according to Tunnel? Like, are there specific metrics?
Yeah, so there are, we do work with a brand, so it's, to some degree, this is up to the brand what minimum requirements they want for USDC earnings. Typically, it's a combination of a minimum number of yaps within the last 30 days, TweetScout score, and then we have our own metric, Tunnel tiers. So in terms of like eligibility, that's largely determined by the brand. On our platform for earning tickets only, it's usually about 50 TweetScout score. So if you're 50 and above, you can earn tickets. And then if you meet the brand's requirements, then you can earn USDC. And again, that will vary. Getting to the tiers, though, to answer that question. So tunnel tiers are a way, we realize that all these InfoFi metrics are all gamed to some degree. And they do not reflect content quality. They more reflect just how effectively you can game the system. Like yaps, for example. It's really just about getting people to engage with you, right? And sometimes that's a good thing. It's a better metric than just bot followers, but it's really not a great metric because a lot of people that aren't providing much value, or they're just, we call like InfoFi slop, where their timeline is just 100% InfoFi, the content's crap, but they are earning a ton of yaps because they're getting all this engagement. So this is why we introduced tunnel tiers. So tunnel tiers are an independent metric. The way that they're calculated, we do have an automated system that's going to evaluate overall content and account quality. Usually it takes like 24 to 48 hours to get that initial tier. But there is also a degree of human moderation too. We have an internal dashboard. We can see everything that's going on. We've got a crazy amount of metrics there. And we use that to review people and observe their content. And if they're producing consistently high quality content, then their tier is going to be reviewed and they've got a chance to increase. But if they're, mostly posting just InfoFi or the content quality is low, then that tier is going to decrease. So I think the key here is we have an automated algorithm that helps with this tier setting, but there's still people looking at this behind the scenes. And we're not just trying to rely on purely algorithmic things, which are going to be gamed.
Yeah, I think the main reason there is no one of these InfoFi metrics is a silver bullet. Like, some people might have, 1,000 TweetScout score, but they might only get 50 impressions. The account's kind of vacant. Someone might have a lot of yaps, but the content's slop. They're only posting InfoFi. So it's really hard to just rely on one single metric. So that's why we look at, all of your X data, and then we look at multiple of these InfoFi metrics to try to have a holistic view of your account. And then from there, a tier is assigned. Every tier has basically a different CPM rate and payout caps. So, someone who's a bronze is getting paid out at a lower CPM than someone who's a gold or a diamond. And then it scales that way.
No, it makes perfect sense. I think it's really hard, and that's sort of where InfoFi platforms have struggled, is quality assurance. So,
Yeah.
and it's something that I'm sure even in this iteration, is probably not perfect. It's going to be something that's going to just take time to consistently get refined and refined and refined. And to be honest, there probably is no perfect future state, because the second you patch one thing, there's going to be another way of gamifying it. And it's sort of this like never ending game. But nonetheless, like you do the best, right, in terms of quality assurance. Because at the end of the day, as you were saying, if somebody, if the clients aren't happy with the performance, there are no more clients, and there's no
Exactly.
anyways.
Exactly.
So yeah, this is pretty interesting. Really, really cool product. I'm excited that I just got onboarded today and started testing it out. Surprised, I didn't know this has been out for so long. I think there's yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of what other questions I have here. As far as the onboarding of projects, like how are you finding I guess like, has it been pretty easy so far with like a pipeline of clients that are willing to come here and essentially bring their marketing spend here? How frequent is that for users? I think you mentioned one user is already up around $10,000 in the last few months.
Yeah. So in terms of like, the pipeline for brand spending on the platform, I think the last 4 months we've done over 50,000 in volume every single month, which is starting to pick up. And I honestly think we're going to see more of a shift to that. I know largely over the last few months, it's been total InfoFi season. I think we might start to see that slow down, but agencies have been great. They bring us a lot of deal flow. Also just like being active on X and, being in marketing communities, people hear about us. People have a great experience using the product, so they tell other marketers, and, word gets around and people come to Tunnel and they have a good experience. I would say our retention rate is also really strong. So, we're not always, brand comes on, they do one campaign and then they bounce. A lot of people are very active and repeat users. So that's been helpful as well. We are looking to scale up our outreach and BD. That's something that's kind of a bottleneck for us right now. Still a small team. And honestly, like I'm our BD guy, but we have so much inbound. So I'm mainly managing that. So we're going to be looking to scale up the BD so we can hammer outreach. It's like that Sixer case study. Like we got all this great data. We just need more people to know about it, move their spend over to Tunnel.
Yeah. We haven't raised any VC. So this is entirely like, a few angel investors, but mostly bootstrapped. I mean, Kyle and I have gone without a salary for a full year. Just finally started being able to pay ourselves. So I think we wanted to make sure that the unit economics make sense. And so that's why we've had to deal with like a really small team, but we're actually been able to leverage affiliates lately, an affiliate commission. So if you're someone and you think, hey, I know all these brands that want to come on and spend on something like this, hit us up because we will make it worth your while.
Fire. Really, really cool. And that brings me to one of my last questions, which is, are there, and I don't know what you could reveal yet, but revenue model. I'm assuming you're taking a percentage of the fees. I think it's like 10% creator fees for the payouts, probably a fee for potentially a fee for listing as well too. Are you looking to tokenize this product ever? Like, I guess, what are some of the different on-chain revenue opportunities that you guys are sort of capturing in the market, and like, is that ever going to translate to something on-chain, perhaps? Yeah.
So in terms of the revenue model, right now it's pretty straightforward. If you're a brand and you list a faucet, we take 20% from that spend there. When you launch a boost, if you do $1,000 boost, we automatically take 20% at the contract level. So make $200 there, $800 funds the reward pool. So it's about 20% from the brand side. And then we have recently just introduced the creator fee, which is 10% from every creator payout. However, that 10% is being used to partially fund the season 1 jackpot.
Exactly.
So current margins right now are about 30%.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Essentially for a marketing flywheel that moves itself. Really, really cool. I'm trying to think what other questions I had. Revenue. I guess any big news, any big upcoming campaigns, like what's next for you guys?
Something we did just announce today was the $60,000 worth of rewards from Base that are going to be going live.
Yeah. Oh yes, that's what I want to talk about. Yeah.
So that shout out to Base. I know sometimes Base gets, some smoke from builders for not supporting. Not going to say anything about that. Base has been great to us. I think it's a great ecosystem to be building on. We were out at Base Camp in Stowe a couple months ago. Great experience there. So TLDR on what we're going to be doing with Base. We did a pilot campaign a few months ago, which basically was $10,000 in spend. Base was super stoked about the results. So we're moving that to a full rollout, which is going to be $60,000 worth of rewards through Tunnel. It's going to be over multiple months, many boosts, many faucets, amplifying builders, ecosystem events, pretty much everything Base. We're going to be amplifying through Tunnel.
And this is built on top of Base too. So I don't know what you guys know or can reveal, but like, is there any sort of bonus, or does this kind of give anyone exposure to the upcoming Base airdrop? Perhaps I don't know.
We are not at liberty to discuss.
Okay.
So I will say that.
Can someone assume that?
I think Base has done a really good job rewarding people that contribute to the ecosystem. So instead of just people that are like trying to farm in one way or the other, Base is very focused on like builders and creators that are actually contributing. So I think the best way to position yourself for Base is just be aligned and do whatever it is that you do that brings attention to the chain and provides value. You're going to be fine. That's my focus.
I will also say too, anytime you claim an offer on Tunnel, anytime you launch a boost, anytime you make a payout, that is all an on-chain transaction that's happening on Base. So if you want to build your on-chain footprint on Base, Tunnel is a great way to do that.
That's all I was trying to say. That's all I was trying to say. Look, I'm not. That's all I'm trying to say. Hey, so actually, if you don't use Base, this brings you onto Base. If Zora's not your thing, if Farcaster's not your thing, and to be honest, I've tried all those different things. Like, I'm not saying they're bad products. They're actually really good products. They're just not my thing. I don't know. Like, it's just not my thing yet. So if you haven't found your thing yet on Base, Tunnel could be it. Just saying.
100%. Just saying. Yeah. Just speculating. I don't know anything either. Morgan doesn't know anything. I'm
just hearing things. I've heard things. I'm hearing things.
I see people post tweets and I'm like, shit, I don't know, maybe.
Shit, I don't know, maybe. Maybe. You just do the
I'm sorry. Oh yeah. Shout out to Say, pivot to Tunnel. That's what we're telling everybody now. Pivot to Tunnel.
How many
likes for the caps? I don't even know what that.
I don't know what that means either.
I don't know what that means either. Oh, for the hats?
Tunnel hats.
For hats.
Yeah.
We got a sender one.
We got more to go around.
Yeah.
Well, hey, this has been dope. Really chill combo. I feel like I learned a lot. Learned a lot about the tech side of things as well too, not just speculating on the money aspect, but like actually how the fuck this is built and what it's taking a look at. Excited to continue using it. I'm sure I will. I mean, it was fucking easy. I mean, $400 in 30 minutes today, guys. Like, what the hell?
Hell yeah, man.
If every day is like that, dude, I'm going to be on there every day. Why not?
Hey, if you're a fan of the tech, the white paper's coming soon. Like I said, this is the MVP right now. In crypto Twitter, that's the MVP. We're going way, way bigger. So stay tuned. Follow us. We're going to be dropping that soon.
Dope. And I'm going to pull it up in case you haven't peeped it yet. Tunnel without the E _IO on Twitter, or Tunnel without the E.io website. So
drop that ref code, get tickets.
Yeah, facts.
I got 20 signups already.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Try to get more. Hey, appreciate you guys again. Thank you for coming by. And yeah, we should do another one of these at some point. I think if
yeah, bro, let's do it.
I think so. I would like to talk to Base. I don't know, we can maybe organize a Base thing.
Hey, we'll have some exciting updates. So I think, within the next couple months, we're going to have a lot of stuff cooking.
All right. So Base, airdrop, Tunnel, you're all going to get increase your transactional footprint. Hey,
Hell yeah. Doesn't sound too bad to me, man. Fuck.
Doesn't sound bad to me at all. So.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle, Morgan, appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it, man.
I'm sure you guys will be back soon. Ciao.
Take care, man.
Thanks. Woo! Thanks, Kaneki. That was dope. That was really cool. W Tunnel guys. That was actually really cool. Learned a lot today. And yo, okay, fun fact. I'm gonna give you guys a quick little fun fact, quick little short story. Short story time is I had actually ideated the same product like 4 years ago. I never got around to. Well, I did build it. I built out several different betas and prototypes, but it's really fucking hard. You heard what they were explaining with like the ZK syncs, as well as having custodial contracts for payments. It's not easy shit to figure out. So the fact that these guys have figured this out is pretty cool, pretty interesting. Just saying. And it gets your footprint on base. So, all right, y'all. Appreciate you. Dope stream today. Tag me in any clips you guys have. I'll be in Clipper U Telegram. So, peace.